Peymon who?
Mata Heyday.
Peymon Lata Heyday. Who is he?
Never paid taxes for 30 years. Fought the U.S. tax court and won.
See, I believe our rights come from God, not from government. I'm Peymon Montehede, your host for this weekly program where I have you be free. Yes, you deserve to live free. You can be free if you choose to be free. It is literally that simple. I've done it, folks, for now over 30 years, not have filed and paid any federal income taxes or payroll taxes. IRS knows about me. They try to mess with me. I beat them at least 5 times in and outside of their own courts. And I'm free. IRS never tries to put me in prison because they know no law requires me nor you, the people of the 50 states, to file and pay federal income taxes. The only people that have to pay federal income taxes are citizens and residents of Washington, D.C., and federal workers, the people who work in D.C. So with that, people have a question. They say, well, Peymon, what do I do if I want to stop filing and paying income tax? And I already filed previously 1040 income tax confession and trap forms. And by doing so, I had put the rope around my own neck. I know, I signed under oath that I owe the IRS money. I was deceived, I was duped by my CPA, my accountants, H&R Block, TurboTax. They all made me believe I have to fill out that form under oath, otherwise I'll go to prison. IRS takes all my stuff, and it scared me. So what do I do now that I owe the IRS money? At least because you did it to yourself. Well, there are options. Depending on your situations, we're going to go over those options, what you can and cannot do. Maybe you may choose to pay them. Maybe you choose not to pay them, okay? Let's go take a look, okay? So here we are. First of all, before we get to that table for figure out amount exempt from levy on wages, salary, and other income, which IRS has, Form 68W, I'm going to share this. If you are poor, if you have nothing for the IRS to take, IRS will leave you alone anyways. That's right. If all you got is living on Social Security, if you're just making minimum wage, you get married with 3 kids, making only $25,000 a year, something like that, you have to worry about it. They will leave you alone anyways because you are what they call uncollectible or judgment proof, which means no matter how much you may owe, $1 million or $50 million, there's nothing IRS can take from you because you have barely enough to pay your necessities of life, like mortgage or rent, food, gas, transportation, insurance, just the basics. So that happens a lot more these days because inflation is really hurting people a lot. So let's look at this chart on this IRS has on this issue as well. Here we got. It's called Tables for Figuring Amount Exempt from Levy on Wages, Salary, and Other Income. And it says if you're single, this is different than if you are, for example, married, filing a joint return, okay? Then they got one for head of household and one for filing status, married filing separate return. I'm going to do only the first one as single, but it's all the same principle, okay? For a single person, if you have number of dependents is 0, just yourself, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on that, whether you get paid weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, or monthly. We're going to go monthly, okay? If your monthly income is under $1,216.67, that amount is exempt. IRS will take nothing. That's right. If that's all you make, $1,216.67, IRS will not take anything from you at all as of year 2024. This is the rates. If you have one dependent, then $1,633 and change. Two dependents, now they leave over $2,050 a month for you to have to survive, basically survive. So if you're a wage earner, based upon that, your employer, you can provide this to them. They should have it anyways and know that they can leave you alone up to this much. After that, they may take what you are, IRS claims that you owe them. Okay? So that's one. Next step is IRS has a collection information statements for wage earners and self-employed individuals, Form 433A. Okay? And in this form, what the IRS does, they ask you about all your income, assets, and liabilities under oath. Okay? You have to fill out this information under oath, give it to the IRS, again, to see that they have to leave you so much for rent or home mortgage, food, transportation, insurances, basic necessities. And once your basic necessities are that amount, they have to leave you alone. Even if it's, single, $2,500 a month. Okay? So it is what it is for the IRS. They have to leave so much alone once you fill out this form and give it to the IRS. So but many of you qualify for that. Well, of course, you can call your IRS, make payment plan, but that doesn't have to be done right now either. Okay? Here's another thing you should know about the IRS. Okay? What they're doing now, they're giving private debt collection agencies, private companies, okay, to collect taxes from people. And of course, that's how IRS is so bad shape. This report from Government Accounting Office, okay, tells us that the IRS could improve better results and promote equitable outcomes for taxpayers. In other words, they're incompetent. These collection agencies are not able to collect from people what they could and should. And the main reason is these private collection agencies have zero legal power to take your paycheck, bank account, business, assets, property of any kind. They're not government agents. Therefore, they do not have the power that government agents have to take your stuff. No. They cannot do that. So that means if your case has been given to a private collection agency, congratulations. Yes, that means the IRS decided to leave you alone and give it to some private guy that says, would you please give us some money? Here's a letter to you. IRS says you owe this money, but we're not the IRS, but we're trying to act like behalf of the IRS. Would you please give us some money? And you can pay him if you want to. That's completely your choice. But know that if you don't, there's nothing these private collection agencies can do whatsoever to take your money by force. It's completely your choice to, at that point, pay the IRS or not. Now, here's more, okay? On these, but I want to show you this, folks. I did a video. It's on Odyssey and YouTube channels. IRS is failing as a collection agency, sending cases to Toothless Private Collection Agency. I put it out in June 10th, 2022, okay? So you want to check out this video for more detail about how IRS is incompetent. And here's an example on this page you see, okay? Here's an example of a case of a guy, okay? They gave his case to CBE Group, okay? And this guy owed the IRS, look at the top right, $280,000 plus. That's right, $280,000 plus. They claim this guy owed them, and the IRS did not pursue these guys themselves. They gave it to a Toothless private collection agency. Amazing. You think, why would they leave somebody that owes the IRS over $250,000 alone, and rather than taking his bank account, paycheck, stocks, bonds, real estate, property, why would they give it to a toothless private collection agency? Because IRS is a completely lazy, irresponsible, incompetent, communist government agencies. Yes, they're a communist. The whole community of the IRS is there working on the case. No one owns it. No one has any responsibility, no skin off their back if they don't collect these monies, like this case of $280,000 from this person. Okay, so anyhow, watch that video. It's very hardening for you. Here is a report from the National Taxpayer Advocate 2023. Okay, ours is such a bad shape. Here's what they say. They have a big paper inventory levels of correspondence they're not getting to yet. People's letters, responses, they are ignoring. They're not getting back to you letters or processing tax, and processing tax returns. Okay, and they talk about the fact that it was IRS's decision to prioritize answering phone calls over processing amended returns and correspondence. Think about that, folks. IRS prioritizes answering phone calls rather than processing amended returns or correspondence. What does that mean? That means IRS is so understaffed and incompetent. They cannot even handle basic functions like processing tax returns or answering your letters. Yep, they cannot do that. They have to take your calls. More important, why? I'll tell you in just a second, okay? Of course, both functions are performed by IRS's customer service representatives, okay? And when these customer representatives are assigned to answer phones, they aren't processing paperwork. That means they can do one or the other, okay? It's a zero-sum game. That's right. That's right. So to achieve high telephone service levels, the IRS must staff its phone lines so there aren't enough agents to handle calls during peak periods. Yep. But that means during quiet periods, the agents simply are sitting around and waiting for the phone to ring. Yep. They have to do one or the other. So why do they want to take the calls? Because if they don't take your calls, IRS will be in big trouble. What's going to happen? If your bank account paycheck is being levied, garnished by the IRS, yoink, and you cannot pay your rent or electricity, as a result, the food in the fridge goes bad. What's going to happen? You're going to be very upset. Understandably. You will call the IRS. You will visit their offices. They don't answer your phone calls. IRS office is not near you. Nobody's there to answer your questions, do something about it. You're going to go to your congressman. And they're going to contact the IRS from the back end to get down to see what's going on here, to stop this taking your bank account and paycheck. And that consumes a lot of time and energy of the IRS staff. And on top of that, by the time they get to some result, if your money's taken, you cannot pay your rent or electricity, you're out in the street, or your food goes back in your fridge and freezer because not paying electricity, you're going to be very mad at the IRS. You're going to say, what kind of government is this? They take my money. They put me on the street. My food in the fridge goes bad. They don't even answer my phone calls. Take my visits. You're going to say, this government is not government of the people, by the people, for the people. This government is run by a bunch of crooks and thieves. You no longer will pay attention to watching football and baseball and other leisurely activities and frivolous activities. You're going to pay attention to what's going on with the government. Say, whoa, whoa, whoa. And they're going to make a patriot out of you. freedom lover that's going to fight the crooks in Washington, D.C. They don't want that. Most Americans still pay income tax because they believe the government is good. They're protecting them from Chinese, Iranians, Russians, Arab Muslim terrorists, all the bad guys out there, for roads and schools, law enforcement, all a bunch of lies. Your roads and schools and police, courts, all this stuff is paid by your state property and sales taxes. Mostly. Okay, local taxes, not federal taxes. Your roads are paid by local taxes or gas tax you pay at the pump. And the government's a bunch of crooks. FBI, CIA, NSA, FDA, CDC, DOJ, and more. They're all a bunch of crooks, lazy criminals. Okay? They don't want you to know that. They want you to be complacent and happy and fill up the football stadiums and basketball, baseball stadiums every week in person or watch it on TV and have no time to read, to educate yourself to what's going on out there. Right? They don't want that. So that's why they have to take the calls to allow people to make simply payment plans and installment payments. That's right. That's why the IRS management, made the decision, okay, to prioritize answering phone calls over processing amended returns and correspondence, not to upset you. And to prove to you, the result is this. Here it is, folks. IRS cannot keep up with filers who have confessed to owing the IRS money. Forced collections levies are down by more than 90% since 2011. This chart, the top, the green line shows in 2010-11, the green line at the top. Levies were about 3.7, 3.6. Time they took bank accounts and paychecks. And by 2021, look at that. That number came down to only 300,000. Over 90% drop. Why do you think IRS did this? Because they don't want to make a paycheck out of you. They don't have enough people to answer the phone calls to let you make a payment plan, installment payment. Yes. Another report in 2017 that said the same thing. So, as a result, folks, IRS, if you owe them money, they may come after you, but look at this, based upon this, probably not. Over 90% not. They're not going to come after you at all. Now, the one more thing I'm going to show you about this is the collection due process hearing stage. You probably did not know. Before you pay the IRS anything, by law, IRS must send you a letter called Final Notice of Intent to Levy and Notice of Your Right to a Hearing. Yes. They have to give final notice that they want you to pay, and you have a right to a hearing before they attack your bank account, paycheck, or anything else of your property. And if you do ask for a hearing, fill out the IRS form 12513, ask for a hearing within 30 days. 30 days of the time the IRS mailed that letter to you. You send that hearing request with certified mail proof of mailing. IRS by law cannot take any of your money. It's all frozen. That's right. All collection actions are halted by the IRS. They will not proceed. They have to give you a case to an IRS appeals officer to hear your case and allow you to make payment plans, maybe even challenge the tax in some cases, and pay them zero perhaps. Okay? You can challenge interest and penalties. Maybe they did them wrong. Maybe the calculations are wrong. So, and if they don't give you a payment plan there, you can appeal that to tax court, appeal that to the Court of Appeal. You have a right to challenge them on the law, and during the whole process of the hearing and appeal to tax court and Court of Appeal, you are completely protected by law. IRS cannot take any of your property whatsoever. And this process can take years and years. That's right. Before they give you a agent to give you a collection due process hearing by itself, it takes the IRS anywhere from 4 to 8 months for the agent to contact you, maybe more, because they're overwhelmed. They do not have enough agents to give you hearing, okay? And the IRS is very flexible to let you make a payment plan because they know most Americans don't have much money. So they're willing to work with you and get something out of you rather than nothing. Now, some of you have got installment plans already in place. Oh, I called the IRS. I got to pay $500 a month, $2,000 a month per our agreement. What do? Do I keep paying them? Well, that depends. If you have not had your collection due process hearing yet, you can stop and wait for the IRS to send you the final notice of intent to levy and notice of your right to a hearing. And at that time, you can negotiate a payment plan perhaps. But know this, IRS has only 10 years to collect the tax from the time that the tax became assessed, from the time you file a tax return with the IRS, or otherwise IRS assess the tax. That's right. After 10 years, the tax goes away, zero, kaput. They can extend it another 10 years, but they almost never do that, especially for smaller amounts, okay? So IRS is so overwhelmed that they oftentimes, the taxes go unpaid and the 10-year just comes and goes, and that alleged tax just disappears. Sometimes after 9th year, like with 6 months left, it's 9 years or 6 months, then they may give it to an agent, hey, before this tax expires, go out to get something from that guy. But they have to give you a collection due process hearing first, okay? And during the collection process hearing time, you ask for a hearing. Of course, the 10-year time frame to collect by the IRS is extended during the time that you're in that process of collection due process hearing, and that's okay, but you can challenge them. So you have those options. But if you don't pay the IRS, guess what? There's a good chance that they may never take anything from you at all, and the tax simply expires. So anybody with a small amount, like $20,000 or less, put yourself in your shoes, the IRS. Would you rather put your energy on a guy that owes the IRS $10 million or $1 million or $500,000, or the guy that owes $1,000 or $5,000 or $20,000, right? Of course, the big ones. IRS not even good to the big ones. Remember, the IRS sent to a toothless private collection agency. Look at this. Back in 2020, a $280,000 case. They're that incompetent, overwhelmed, that they gave this big number, okay, $280,000 to a toothless private collection agency. So there's a very good chance that they're just going to leave you alone. Now, whether you can or should pay it or not, I cannot decide that for you. Some people say, Peymon, it's only $5,000, it's only $20,000. I'd rather pay him off, keep the installment plan going, so I can sleep better at night. And I say, fine, I can understand. That's your choice. If you sleep better, you can do that. Some people tell me, Peymon, I don't care about these crooks and criminals. I'm going to give them one more dime if I don't have to. They want to come after me, let them come get me. And I'm going to save that money that I would have paid them, that $200, $500, or $2,000 a month. I'll set that aside on my own, in my own savings account, just in case they come after me. I got the savings money there. If they leave me alone, I'll get that money saved up for myself and my family. So they don't pay the IRS anything at all. And that's your choice. You can do that too, or anything in between. So those are your basic options how to handle that. But remember this, no law requires you to file income tax to begin with. So you got to go to our website, freedomlawschool.org. That shows you that, based on U.S. government's official legal websites, no law requires 99% of Americans to file and pay income taxes. Start with 7 steps, okay? To free yourself from income tax slavery with these 7 steps, okay? So then step 1 is to follow the law. I just told you about the law, folks. It's all based upon their own official legal websites. Step 2 you got to go to, folks. Stop filing income tax forms. Stop putting the noose around your neck telling the IRS you owe the money. That's the number 1 reason why you owe the IRS money. Because you've signed that 1040 income tax confession trap form under oath and told the IRS that you owe the money. You got to stop doing this. Step 3 is very fun. You got to realize that the IRS is over 99% bluff. Yes. The real Wizard of Oz is the corrupt major media that told you the FBI, CIA, FDA, CDC, DOJ are your friends. They love you. They work for you. No, they're not. They're crooks. They tell you, IRS is powerful. We'll get you if you don't file income tax. No, IRS is weak. Okay, pull the curtain. You see a bunch of lazy, incompetent people at the IRS. You got to realize American people have been brainwashed to file income taxes by the corrupt media, the IRS, charismatic preachers, okay, law and accountants, CPAs do the dirty job for the IRS. Step 4, folks, you can take courage from our victories. No student of Freedom Law School has ever gone to prison for federal taxes, nor had their paycheck or bank account levied, or home or business seized by the IRS. Ever. That's right. IRS is a myth, this Godzilla that they make of the IRS. They're nothing. They're a toothless, fireless lizard if you educate yourself, okay? And folks, we are honest. We want to file income tax if the law requires us.
Yes, sir.
So we question authority to see, folks, you don't have to pay tribute to the beast of the IRS. It's really slavery. All you got to do is write your Congress members. File income tax only if your congressman can show you the law that requires you to file income taxes. Yep. Guess what, folks? We've done this thousands of times. Us and our students and public on their own. Not once one lawmaker has ever come and say, oh, you missed it. The Deuteronomy code that you rely upon, you quote from, you petition to Congress, you letters to Congress, within all these pages, oh, we found you wrong. Here's a law that says you're wrong. Here's a Supreme Court case, you're wrong. You file and pay income tax because the law requires you to. Not once. Any federal lawmaker has shown us that. Because we're right. No law requires that people of the 50 states to file income tax. And you get to have that verified by writing your federal lawmakers. So, you want to do this process and safely free yourself from IRS deception, robbery, and slavery. Now, step 6 is optional for modern day America's founding fathers. Yep. If you like this crowd you see, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson and company, you want to hang together versus hanging separately and win like they did, you can join hands. Yep. And you can enjoy 100% guarantee when you legally stop filing and pay income taxes, as long as you're a member of the Restore Freedom Plan. Freedom Law School will prevent the IRS from levying your money, or Freedom Law School will reverse you, and you'll not go to prison. Folks, it's that simple. That simple. Stop putting the rope around your neck. Stop telling the IRS you owe the money. Don't give your money to criminals and federal government gangsters that deceive you to be a slave. Free yourself, folks, like me. Why can't we all be happy, smiling, and free? Because they got you here by your mind. You got to go to freedomlawschool.org. As you drive to and from work, Put that smartphone to work in your car. Let it play the videos on these 7 steps. Listen and deprogram yourself of the lies and reprogram yourself with the truth. Just like the movie Matrix. Remember the scene with Neo? He's just sitting there, and in the back, they're programming in his mind Kung Fu. After a while, he wakes up and says, I know Kung Fu. And he goes in as a Kung Fu scene, right? Jumps high, all the stuff. Folks, you can be that powerful. Like Neo and know Kung Fu of freedom. If you take the time to program your mind, free your mind at freedomlawschool.org. Okay? I'm on not paying income tax, folks. For the previous years that you filed that confess you owe the IRS money, because you're saving so much money, even if they do come after you, try to take some of your money, you get a lot of savings now. Yeah. So you could pay them off easier if you had to. So with that, folks, I want to tell you this. I love every one of you, and I wish you all freedom. I wish you to have the life that you want, that you dream of. You no longer have to be a slave. I would love to see a live and let live world, and a love and let love world, where these deceptive crooks in government, these satanic people want to use deception and fear to have you be robbed and enslaved. They leave you alone. But they'll leave you alone, like they leave me alone, only if you empower yourself with the truth that was hidden in plain sight in federal tax laws. It's gobbledygook of complete deliberate confusion they create for you. Cut through the chase, okay, and all the lies and nonsense at freedomlawschool.org. Listen to it as you drive, at lunch or dinner. Put your smartphone or personal computer and watch the government's own official legal websites, reports to see, oh wow, now I understand what's going on. I was scammed. I was deceived. But guess what? No longer. I will no longer be a slave. Now that I know the truth and I regain my power, I'll be free. And on top of that, now you're going to want to tell other people about it. Yes. You're going to want to go to step 7, spread the word. Yes. Like Paul Revere. Arm American people with the law and the truth, and we can have America back. Our families and Americans will prosper once again if you choose to ride the horse of Freedom Law School and tell the Americans about it. And we actually will pay you. We will pay you to spread the word, folks. You can be prosperous. That's right, because we give you some money when someone joins our Restore Freedom Plan as our thank you and acknowledgement to you for opening your mouth, telling about what we're telling American people about freedom. On social media, post it, text it to your friends, email them, take our call, get our Restore Freedom brochures. We give them to you at no charge. Pass them out to your friends, family members, co-workers. Yes, get it out there, folks. And you can be free and not worry about a little IRS thing you got in the past. So you file a tax return, you didn't know better. That's okay. Move on from here. So with that, I wish you all the very best. I give you my love and I invite you to discover God's truth and love of truth, and your power and freedom will be back for you, my friends, at freedomlawschool.org.